Welcome to day 5, the CEO activation plan. How are we doing today? What's going on, everybody? Love seeing all the faces live, which is fantastic. Drop in the chat as we come through the end of this week. I can't believe it's been 5 days in a row now. And thanks to all of you who, whether you hopped on live all 5 days in a row, kudos. Or to the ones who are watching the recording, but you might be watching it delayed. You've done this 5 days in a row, which is incredible. Drop a single word in the chat on how you are feeling right now. You feeling good? You feeling grounded? Drop how you're feeling. Let's see in the chat here. Driven, love it. Tired, okay. Might be Friday. Energetic, purposeful, another driven, happy, excellent. Keep dropping them in the chat here. I want you to know that going through all of these trainings, regardless of how you felt, whether it was driven, whether it was low, whether it was high energy, whether it was excitement, whether it was maybe a little bit of confusion as you start to look at your business, I want you to understand that that is all completely normal. The way you are feeling in this moment coming into the day 5 training is exactly how you should be feeling. There is no right or wrong way to feel through this process. And that's actually one of the biggest things that draws me so heavily to business growth and business development is business is a roller coaster. Like on today's date, we're talking about the CEO activation plan. This is activating yourselves so that way, transitioning out of these 5 days, you're actually going to be able to start making these changes that we've talked about over the past 4 days. But going into this, it's about understanding that this roller coaster has its highs, has its lows, has its ups, and has its downs, but it is a roller coaster that continues to progress forward. And I know that sometimes it might feel like a dog chasing its tail, where you're going around the same circles. But it was actually a friend, a really great mentor of mine, who talks about the going around in circles like a spiral. We are actually progressing upwards naturally. And as long as we continue to work on our business, to try new things, to implement new models, to hire new people, to take chances, to implement new programs, we are going to continue that spiral upwards. So just because something might feel like it is very circular, that does not mean that you are not making progress. And going through this, especially through all 4 of these days, we have made so much progress. Like day 1, we went through the fixer to founder. We talked about the fixer identity and how you can step into that CEO so that way you can look through all of the lens of all the stuff we were looking through in a founder's mindset, how you're going to operate differently, how you're going to start implementing differently. And that was fantastic. And then we went into day 2, which was the scalable client delivery. This is really showing you how you can start to transition out of one-on-one, but still provide the results to your clients and make money at the same time. We, of course, went through day 3. That was the overflow offer stack, actually showing you how these offers can go together in a way that's going to make sense without you having to get rid of your one-on-one. It's something that can actually enhance your entire business, what to sell, ways that we package it, how it fits together, all of that. And then, of course, yesterday we went into the back-end CEO systems. This was the automation, the delegation, and hiring light to make sure that these things came into place. All of this was absolutely fantastic. And I asked how you were feeling today because I want you to know that through this process, your feelings might change in the moment, but your results, the progress is always being made over and over again. So as we go into the final day training here, this is really about activating you as the CEO. Now, activating you as the CEO is understanding that this isn't about doing more. This isn't about adding more to your plate, trying to bring on more people, trying to bring on more expenses, trying to bring on more risk. More is not better. It's actually about becoming more. And the way that we become more is we start to show up as a different person. We start to establish a new identity, and we're actually allowed to take on more without having to do more or input more into our lives. This is where we start to create a wave behind us, that wave of the picture that's actually in the overflow photo, whereas the wave continues to carry, you get momentum. And it is momentum that drives every single moment that we do inside of our lives. So, who's pumped to get into this stuff? Drop a yes in the chat. Hell yeah, even. Fire emojis. Yes, let's do it. Fire emojis work too. Absolutely. All right, we're going to fire right into this good stuff here. So let me share my screen. All right. So, day 5, the CEO activation starts with understanding the CEO revenue roadmap. It's important for you to know where you should be focusing on your business depending on where you are in this roadmap, because there are a lot of opportunities that you can take on, all the different models, all the different offers, all the different things that you can delegate. But if you don't understand what the next direction or destination is inside of your business, it's going to be hard for you to make these decisions and for you to be comfortable changing the models. So I'm going to make this easier for you. This I call the CEO revenue roadmap. It is you being able to self diagnose and establish, hey, here's where I am in my business journey right now as a practitioner and as a coach. And then from there, we can work to move towards the next step. So, what I want you to do is when you see the phase or the area in which you are in the roadmap, this is where you start saying to yourself, okay, what is it that I have to do next to move into the next area? So the first one has a revenue point to it, 0 to 10K a month. This is the technician phase. This is effectively where you are the solo practitioner, you are the solo coach in your business, and you're basically doing everything yourself. Your offer, it's one-on-one sessions or one-on-one packages, and that's it. This is solely time for money. At this point, it's all about hustle mode. This is finding time to market more, finding time to sell more, finding time to promote more, and delivering to your clients every single day. At this stage, your only focus should be getting to a space where you can market, sell, and deliver consistently. When you are in this area, I actually recommend right from the ground that you start looking to how to scale away from one-on-one, because it is going to be the bottleneck soon. But even if you aren't filled in your one-on-one yet in this moment, you're still going to end up being stuck in that hustle mode. The mindset for people at this stage is if I work harder, I'm going to earn more. And that's true partially. We can always add in more time. We can always spend in more hours because maybe you have the time right now, you're not completely filled, but you're going to get in this place where the hustle is going to be your bottleneck. The systems at this point, it's manual everything. And the support, you really have none of it. It's just you. Maybe you've got an assistant, maybe there's a VA, but right now you are the person that is the entire funnel and the entire process. At this moment, what you should focus on besides transitioning away from one-on-one is how you can consistently market and consistently sell. Marketing and sales is what will fill your programs, regardless of whether or not you are one-on-one or you will have a group program or a self-paced program. If you do not promote yourself organically, if you do not network, if you do not put ads, you're not going to grow your business. There's only 3 ways that you can find people. It's online, it's through referral, it's organically, or it's through ads. There's no special way that you can avoid that. That is where you're going to have to market. And then there's sales, putting out promotion posts, putting out your offers daily, letting people know that you have spots available. So that way they get excited and fired up to actually join into your world. Now, the majority of you have this step, but you still have the one piece that you're carrying with you to the next one, which is the hustle mode. You still think that hustling is what is going to get you to the next stage. This is stage 2. You start hovering around the 10K to 30K a month. You've hit 22K. You've hit maybe a 30K month, maybe even a 4K month, but you're in this space where it's very difficult for you to hold that threshold. This is where you need to transition from hustler to manager of your business. This is where now your offer needs to switch from premium one-on-one into the early stage of group. Maybe you're actually offering an early stage of group right now, or maybe you've played along with some self-paced courses, but never actually doing it serious. At this point, most of you guys are still doing most of the delivery yourselves. Maybe you're delegating a little bit of admin, but the majority of the process is still largely left on you. At this point, your focus should actually be to start to systematize your onboarding and start to systematize your check-ins. And the reason why is because your onboarding, the check-ins, all the back-end stuff starts taking up a lot of time. And that's not really something that you're comfortable having your admin do. The mindset that you need to have to pass this level, where most of you guys get caught at, is the mindset of, I need to buy back my time. Up front, you might think that buying back your time costs you a lot more money. You're like, holy cow, I'm not comfortable spending all of this. I can tell you the time you buy back will make you more money than you could ever do wasting that time on whatever task it was. If you're spending, $2,000 or $3,000 for a specific person a month, but you sign up 2 or 3 clients a week extra, you've just 3x that, providing you've got the proper programs and pricing that the majority of our coaches do. You've 3x that no problem in just like a month span. So it's not hard for you to do that, but you need to start buying back your time because we have to create that space to create new offers. Now, for the systems, this is where you largely got to start focusing on systematizing your onboarding, your scheduling, and your billing. No more doing this stuff on a person-to-person basis. You're beyond that at this point. You got to start moving into, if I can sign up 50 people a week, what would that look like? Your support at this level looks like a VA or maybe an assistant. Maybe you've got a junior coach. It's different for every business and every practitioner, but I will say at this point, you have to start transitioning into the manager role. The only way you can do this is by buying back your time, delegating, and at this point, you have to start offering another type of program outside of one-on-one. Now, some of you are at this 3K plus a month stage. This is where I call it the CEO phase. This is where now it's about actually removing you from the business so you get to focus on solely the things that matter. The coaches that work with us inside of C2C and the practitioners that we're helping day to day, these are the people that already have a basic offer stack. Maybe they've got a small group. They're looking to build something scalable. They have really good retention for their clients in their business. And now it's about placing you as the visionary. You have to start being the visionary, and your systems need to run your business. So the only thing that you're focusing on is vision work, where you get to show up as a coach and you get to show up to lead. That doesn't mean doing one-on-one. It means serving one to many. It means being able to do the podcast episodes, the book, the retreats, the things that are really big that are actually going to 10x and X your income over the span of 3 or 4 years. Your mindset at this point, the majority of the coaches start to recognize in this moment, holy cow, my energy is my most valuable asset. And it is. Once you take back your time, you're going to realize even though I can take back my time, I can't take back my energy. There's still things that drain me energetically that make it hard for me to continue to grow. This is where now you have to start focusing on, I can only do the visionary stuff and the stuff that lights me up. Your systems at this point, this is full back-end automations, calendar freedom. It's already set up and it's plug and play ready to go. And your support, you have a full team of support at this point. You have someone for tech. You have someone for designing things like Canva or any of the slides or any of your content. And you've delegated the majority of the delivery, whether it's through a curriculum, a course code, maybe you have preset templates for certain things. A lot of this is delegated so that way you can focus on just that one-on-one personalized stuff if people have individual questions and all of the upsells. This is the roadmap that every practitioner and health coach should be looking at. And I'll tell you, it doesn't really matter the income. I put the income here on a per month basis because of all of the coaches and professionals we've worked with, they kind of hover around the same income at this point. The reason why that the income I attach to each roadmap phase is because each one is directly tied to their access. People who have 0 to 10K a month may not financially be able to hire somebody in that moment. So it is all them. Versus the person at 10 to 30K a month, they should absolutely have the funds to hire people and they should have already hired people. The people at 30K plus, they always have an established team because that's what allows them to continue to carry and grow. They're working with coaches, they're working with mentors, they're working with professionals. But that being said, it's less about the revenue per month and it's all about where your bottlenecks are. Are you stuck in the systems? Are you stuck in the mindset? Are you stuck in the hustler where most of you are in this phase? You're stuck transitioning between that hustler to manager. You're having a hard time being the hustler because the hustler is something that is no longer in alignment with you. You want to be now more the manager. So my question for you right now, drop in the chat. I want to see what phase are you in? And remember, this is all good. It's all about transitioning through this process. Are you in phase one? Drop one in the chat. Are you in phase two? Drop phase two in the chat or number two in the chat. Or are you in phase three of this roadmap? I'll give you a second to drop it here. Okay. Two. I'm seeing three, one. Cool. All different variables. All different variables. This is great. This roadmap is going to give you the idea of where you need to start focusing next. Because I promise you, once you get to the 30K recurring per month consistently and 2 to 3 quarters in a row, you're able to keep that. The sky's the limit. That's where we can run ads. This is where we can do large scale campaigns. This is where we can bring on different practitioners, professionals, Salesforce people, and you actually scale very quickly once you hit this number because your access to be able to invest and spend on these things changes. But the key is we have to set ourselves right through each of these phases to get there. Now that we understand where we are in the roadmap, let's talk about some key CEO habits that create freedom. These are external habits. And what I mean by external is these are things that you should be doing or you should be making decisions on week after week, day after day. This is the type of stuff that you should be doing all the time. So the first one is thinking time. Every single week, you should be creating thinking time in your schedule, not just doing time. Hey, here's where I'm going to take action with all my clients. You should have time in your calendar to do visionary work. If you don't have time to create new offers, new programs, new opportunities, new master classes, then you're just recycling old stuff over and over again. And it's going to be really hard for you to have engaging content, for you to have a powerful message, for you to get excited in your business. You as a professional need to be creating. So we create by giving us space to be able to do that creation time. So schedule time weekly to think about how your business is operating. Is it operating well? Is it operating poorly? To plan your next offer, plan your next masterclass, plan your next 90-day marketing calendar, plan your SOPs or even some of your goals that you have for the next quarter. Or to actually build the curriculum, build the offer, not to just deliver. This isn't just always about being in the delivery and working with clients one-on-one. Outside of having that thinking time, you also need to start looking at your schedule and the decisions you're making day to day as a decide once and then systemize. A lot of times where I'm finding that coaches and professionals are getting caught up is they decide they want to run the self-paced program and then they start working on it for a week and then they go, no, maybe it should be a group. And then they don't follow through. You waste a lot of time by not following through. And I'm not saying it's not okay to abandon something. It is. But if you're going back and forth between a lot of decisions, if you're going back and forth between a lot of process changes, this is where I got to tell you, don't reinvent stuff. This is where you're onboarding. If it's good enough and it's consistent and people are staying, don't mess with that. Your sales flow. If people are signing up regularly and you've got more than a 65% sign up rate from your consults, don't mess with that. This is where you have to make clear decisions deciding once. Am I going to run the self-paced program? Go. Am I going to do the group program? Go. And then take full action on it and fully implement it. So when we decide what works, we're saying what in my process, what in my system works, what has been working well for me this week, and then we make it repeatable. We only make what works repeatable. If it didn't work, then we don't need to build a system around it because that's going to be a wasted amount of time. The third habit is tracking what actually moves the needle. I shared with you guys yesterday that we have these three things: lead conversions and retention. I'm going to mention it here again. You need to know how many leads are coming in and from where. You need to know your conversion rate, your sign up rate, any type of fall off rate, and that involves your retention. You also need to know how many people are staying in your world and how many people are going through your programs. Track what actually moves the needle. If you're not doing it right now, do it weekly. At the bare minimum, do it monthly. I recommend you do it daily. If you start tracking these things daily, you get to be able to make day by day decisions on what's there. But if you're brand new to the whole tracking thing, then guess what? You got to start doing it weekly so that way you can understand how to make decisions in your business. One thing when it comes to the tracking is don't just track things like likes, comments, or busy work. Don't say, my week was a success because I was able to spend 10 hours creating my curriculum. Well, did anyone sign up from that? Did it actually increase your revenue? Did it do something meaningful like create someone a reach out for you or someone's sign up or someone's referral? If the answer is no, then that's just busy work. We all love the busy work and we fall in love with our level of effort behind something. But the reality is it's not just about likes, comments, or busy work. It's about tracking what actually moves the needle. And I've got a comment at the bottom here. Great CEOs don't try to do it all. They don't. If you're saying to yourself, a lot of the systemizing, the tracking what moves the needle, this is a lot to do. This is why you have team members. This is why you need to bring on other people. And if you can't because you're at a stage one phase, this is why you have to automate this stuff. And there's easy spreadsheets that you can track everything one time per week. You do not have to create extra work for yourself. So the way that CEOs do it is they lead through clarity, delegation, and high impact action. We only take action on the stuff that's going to launch us 30 feet forward, not the stuff that's going to bring us 1 to 2 steps forward. Because long term, that's what's going to drive large scale business growth. Now, we've talked about the external habits. I want to talk about the inner work of a CEO. These are the things that you need to change internally in order for you to actually fully embody a CEO. Because we can go all to our business friends and be like, I'm the CEO of my business. And maybe you set the title on your LinkedIn or your Instagram like CEO or program director. But the reality is if you are not doing these things with the inner work, you're actually not embodying that CEO. You don't want this to be just a title. You want this to be something that you can lean into. So in terms of the inner work, as a CEO, you have to start saying no more often. Setting boundaries to protect your time and your brilliance is crucial. We don't respond to people at all hours of the day. We don't answer every single question for our teammates. We set, like I have a very good standard that I set with my team, which is I say, ask me third. Ask me third. Ask yourself first. Ask a team member second. Ask me third, which means figure it out. And the reason why I have that is I have that to protect my time. I want to encourage people to be self-led human beings. And because I set that boundary and I set that standard ahead of time, people are naturally more self-led and more driven without my input, which saves a lot of my time. So you have to set boundaries, boundaries around client relationships, boundaries around emails, boundaries around your workouts, your nutrition, your sleep, your habits, because that's very important. And to that, I will say this, just because you can does not mean you should. What I mean by that is sometimes we think in the moment, it's easier if I just did it myself. And I can, because I do have the time right now, I can squeeze this in 15 minutes. You're going to end up doing that same thing again later on. And it's going to be when you don't have time. So just because you can take on something because you do have the capacity in a specific moment does not mean that you should keep doing that stuff. Now, the next thing is investing. You have to start investing like a leader, not a technician. CEOs buy their time back. They're not just about buying tactics or buying courses or buying how to. They're buying their time. They want to make sure that the people they hire on can do and automate and set up all the back end stuff so they don't have to worry about it. They want to make sure that they're bringing on teammates to do stuff that doesn't make them money. They also invest in support and identity growth. All CEOs and all coaches and all practitioners, you have coaches and you have mentors. I have coaches and mentors, and I hire several. I'm working with a YouTube coach right now. I have a speaking coach for TEDx, and I have these people because I know that they're going to help me go faster towards my goal. And they know specific things that I don't know, so I can avoid a lot of the pitfalls that are going to waste my time. And if I don't waste my time, I get to save that time and I can make more money and I can make more impact with it. So say to yourself, what have I not invested in recently? Have I not invested in a mentor? Maybe I need to do that. Have I not invested in a coach? Maybe it's time someone taught me how. Do I need a team in the background to maybe help me do a lot of these systems or automations or set up my curriculum or create my program? Do I maybe need to change my identity? And I need to have a mentor to really help me sit down and transition fully into the CEO role. What is it that I'm avoiding and lean 100% into that? And then the largest inner work piece is to stop hiding behind being busy. The state of being busy will keep you temporarily safe because we like to do what we know. But at the end of the day, you're going to leave yourself disappointed. And I'll tell you something, the coaches inside a coach to coach never move from a state of disappointment. They're not like, I'm going to wait for it to get so bad before I go and make a decision or pivot my business. I'm not going to keep staying busy so I can avoid not creating the program or the self-paced offer or the hybrid group. I'm going to move 100% in, and I'm going to move now. And they do that because they start recognizing that if they had the time, they would be using it in different ways. My question to you right now, and this is something internally, if you want to drop it in the chat, if you're brave, do it. I'll give you a gold star. What does the gold star mean? I don't know, but drop it in the chat. If you had more time tomorrow, would you really grow? If I were to give you back 20 hours of your time for the week, would you actually be able to use it to grow and scale your business? Because some of you, I bet you, some of you, it's no. You want it to be yes, but some of you are like, I actually wouldn't know what to do with those 20 hours. So this is where we have to stop hiding around the being busy. Being busy is another way of us keeping ourselves occupied because we don't know what to do next or we don't know where to go next. And this is where I'd say to you, don't confuse being productive with being powerful. Getting a lot accomplished in the day does not necessarily move the needle forward in your business. I would rather that someone have one consult an entire day that's empty, but it makes them an extra $3,500 recurring revenue in their business because they signed someone up in a mastermind than doing 10 different basic admin tasks. They end up finishing at 7:30 and then they don't generate any revenue and they feel like shit for themselves. This is where we have to do the inner work of being a CEO. The inner work means that we have to say no more often, we have to invest like a leader, and we have to stop hiding behind being busy. Story of my life here. So, talking about the inner work here, I want to really talk about the identity of stepping into the CEO, of activating yourself, of understanding that you are going to continuously change into different identities, where at some point you're going to go from the hustler to manager, from manager to CEO. You're going to go from CEO to founder. You might eventually have to sell your business and exit the business like I did. These are all different transitions and identities. And it's about understanding that you cannot be in a state of chasing. So I want to share with you a personal story because some of you who know this, bear with me a second. But for those of you who don't, I've actually run 3 businesses in the last decade, actually 4. This is my 4th business. And I want to share with you kind of my journey through the businesses because it took me a lot of time, 3 years to really understand inside of the 3rd business before I transitioned to the 4th, that I was like, holy cow, I'm really just being in this state of chasing instead of being in this state of transforming. So I had three businesses, and I want you to know that I didn't have three businesses because I kept failing. I had three businesses because I kept trying to find freedom. Okay. I did home personal training first. Then I opened a full physical location with a team. Then I launched a supplement company. And I was looking for something different each time, but it was connected to freedom. I wanted freedom of my time. I wanted freedom to be able to do different things with my life. But with every business, I had kind of three things in mind. I want to help more people in this industry. I want to build something that sustains the life I want. And I want to be able to live a life that's on my terms. Every single business, I dreamed of traveling with my wife. I dreamed of having the weekends not being optional. I dreamed of living by a schedule that was mine, not by someone else or by a client. But through this process, every time I ended up building those businesses, whether it was the personal training business, whether it was the supplement company, the studio, every time I built that business, even though it was a different model, I ended up doing the same thing. I filled it. I filled my one-on-one time. I jacked up my capacity and I filled my calendar, and then I was full. The same thing happened in every single business for me. It was like a bad relationship. And no matter how many times I tried to transition away, thinking to myself, oh, if I move into the next business, it's going to be something different. I kept having the same problem over and over again. So I did what pretty much every single one of you would do to try and correct this in the situation. I brought on other coaches. No surprise, I still felt full because those coaches would get filled with their one-on-one time, and then I'd work to try and fill their slots, and then I was doing all the stuff over and over again, and my one-on-one time got filled again. I even did things like shortening my sessions, and I kept shrinking them from an hour to 45 minutes and then half an hour. And then there was still no space because all the time slots were capped. On top of that, I felt guilty because I felt like I was shorting my clients. And then, of course, you say to yourself, well, now I guess I'm going to have to start raising my prices. Okay. So you start going from individual sessions being $75 to their $110 to their $125. And then you switch to monthly billing. So it goes from $700 a month to $900 a month. And some of our clients were paying $1,500 a month for their sessions. And it was like, great, but I was still stuck. I was still in that position of trading that one-on-one time. Now, I'll say something. I'm not going to complain about those businesses because I had what most of you would call success. I had steady income from every single one of those businesses. I had demand. There were people who wanted to work with me as a professional and people who actually wanted to pay me, and I had a reputation. I was a person who was known for balancing hormones naturally with food. And because of that, people continuously, like leads kept reaching out. My nurture was very easy. So all of this stuff was very good. These are all good problems and good challenges to have. But I knew deep down there had to be more. There had to be more than just me consistently filling the calendar and then going home at 10 o'clock every single day saying to myself, this isn't it. And the reason why I knew that there had to be more is this is where there started to be an identity shift for me. And the identity shift was because I wasn't identifying with the identity as coach anymore. The longer I started to stay in my industry, the longer I started to hop on podcast guests and start to educate myself more, and I started learning more and more about hormones, I recognized that I was actually becoming a leader, that I was actually becoming a visionary. So as I started to grow and my knowledge continued to increase, I started to think to myself, like making client plans and counting reps and doing nutrition and doing these one-on-one adjustments, it felt like a disservice. It felt like a disservice because I knew that I could be helping more people. And in that moment, I saw a future version of myself. I said to myself, wow, I'm learning so much. I could be hosting retreats and helping other people. I could be leading events. I could be speaking on podcasts. I could be running a business where revenue grew while I was gone. And I remember actually sitting in Costa Rica and I was looking around and I'm typing on my computer, of course, doing a bunch of stuff. And I'm like, holy crap, this future I see, it can't come from the way that I'm running my business now. although my business is supporting me and it's giving me a really great life, and I had rental properties and we had a home of our own and it allowed me to do a bunch of really amazing things, I was like, this isn't the future that I see. And so my identity of being the practitioner actually changed without me even realizing it. So after Costa Rica, I decided that I have to change everything. So the first thing I did was I changed how I delivered. I said to myself, everything, the common denominator of everything is my one-on-one time. So in that moment, I built my first online course. My first online course was self-paced because I wanted to test the model, and people started joining while I was sleeping. People were self-signing, and I would wake up and 2 to 3 emails. Someone registered, someone did this, and it was $67 here, $33 here. But I was like, but I didn't do any work for this. A person signed up, they registered, they paid, they onboarded. I don't even know who this person is. They just bought off of my website and it worked. And then from there, I launched my first group program. And in 2 weeks, we had 220 applicants. And 220 applicants was huge for me because my cap at the studio was 110 people. And I was like, I got more applicants, twice the size that my facility could hold within 2 weeks that I could do in an entire month of coaching. And in that moment, I was like, holy cow, this really is going to change everything. But here's the craziest part. That same program, the Hormone Reboot program, my first group program, 8-week program, charged $799 paid in full or $997 over payments. I went from making what I made in a month to matching that in a single week. 80 people signed up at $997 and I was like, holy crap. Some of them were overpayments, some of them were paid in full. But that week, I was like, I just made the entire month's income. And that's when I recognized, man, this is it. I'm going to stop being the entire engine of my business. I'm going to stop trading my one-on-one time for money. And I'm going to start building something that actually scales without me. And this is where I want you to understand there are false beliefs that are holding you back, just like they were holding me back. For a long time, I hesitated. I worried about everything. I worried about what if my clients don't get the same results? I'm going to go and I'm going to build this program and then I'm going to give them shittier results than I had working one-on-one with me. And then I thought to myself, well, what if I actually go and I build this thing and then no one joins my program? And then I'm like, oh, no, now I just spent 6 months building this thing and now it was all a waste. And then I was having this belief well, what if I built something that doesn't sell because no one wants it? I go and I build this beautiful hormone program and then people are like, I'm not interested. It's not even something that I don't even need. So as I was going through this, all of these were false beliefs. And I recognized the truth behind these false beliefs. They were not strategy problems. These beliefs were identity problems. You see, I wasn't afraid of failing. As professionals, you know failure. You know failure very well. You wouldn't have a business as successful as you do now if you didn't fail. You're not afraid of failing. Like me, you were probably afraid that you wouldn't serve them well. That's what I was afraid of. I was afraid that the moment I pivoted away from the way that I was taught, that I wouldn't serve my clients better. I was afraid of not doing a good job because I don't do things half-assed. That's a desire for perfection. And that desire for perfection for me, it actually kept me in a state of hesitation. I was hesitating on pulling the trigger to work with the mentor. I was hesitating to put out that group program. But I'll tell you something, CEOs don't hesitate. And as I started to transition and see what was possible doing the group, doing the online, doing the self-paced programs, I was like, I need to start taking more shots like this. CEOs take what I call sky shots. When you're taking a sky shot, you're swinging for the freaking fence. You're not just trying to bunt the ball to first base. You're hitting for a home run. And you know what? Even when they miss, these CEOs, it's still a hit. They still get to run the bases anyways. You get the same amount of strikes at bat, regardless of whether you're hitting for a home run or you're hitting for first base. And that's when I realized in that moment, I'm not going to go for first base anymore. I'm not going to go for predictable and easy money. I'm not going to go for doing what I know is going to keep me where I am. I'm going to hit for the home run. And when I hit for the home run, Even if it lands somewhere in the field, I get the opportunity to run two or three bases and I'll steal home plate anyways. And that's what I recognized, that I had so much more power than just trading my one-on-one time. So I've got a question for you. And the question is, I want to show you this beautiful photo here. Your sky shot moment. What's next for you? That's the question. I ask you that question right now, and I want you to seriously consider it, because when I look at all of the things that I took a sky shot at, they never were in negative. That group program, it made me money. That self-paced program, it helped me understand online social media and that I could sell 24/7. That hybrid offer, it got me a lot of clients that converted into one-on-one as an additional service, because I was like, oh, now that I have this group, I can actually charge one-on-one for a premium. None of these things were negative. None of these things detracted from my business. None of these things made me fail. They didn't. They actually enhanced the way that I do things. So what's your next sky shot? Is it a course that sells every day without you? Is it a group offer that gives you your evenings back? Maybe it's a business model that lets you take back your weekends and still continue to grow your revenue month over month. Because this is the moment where you decide to stop trading that time and to start building the version of your business that can hold your next level. There's no point in going to the next level if you can't hold being there. So I want you to drop in the chat your sky shot moment. What is next for you? Drop in the chat what's next for you. Group program, hybrid program, bringing on another VA. Drop it in the chat right now. I want to see VA, content editor. Yeah, 100%. Group program, self-paced. Absolutely. All of these things are right because you've decided them. It is your job and your responsibility to both your clients, to your business, to your employees, and to the world to fire that racket, to swing the racket, fire the racket, to swing the club. It's not a club, a racket. It's not a gun. It's a bat. It's your job to swing the bat. I love it. Yes. Oh my goodness. Smiley emojis, 100%. Can you tell it is Friday at 7-ish p.m.? What time are we now? 7:46. Holy cow. Okay. So it is your job to swing that bat once, right, strong, and to be willing to take that sky shot. This is the moment. This is the moment where you start building that version of yourself. This is why when I put out the Overflow upgrade for you guys, this is why we built this offer, because this is about you being able to have the support without doing it alone. Your ability to create your next scalable offer becomes easy when you have a team. It's built like a 50K team would, but it's nowhere near 50K. Your ability to have your back end systems built so you don't have to worry about this. How about being able to set up your client journey and the client delivery so it's right, so you're not worried about whether or not they're going to get results? Your ability to launch this quickly, so you're not going to spend another 6 months questioning what's going to be right to transition you out of one-on-one. To know exactly what you need inside of your business, to delegate what drains you, so that way you can show up for what lights you up. Having me and my team in your corner, where you and I are hopping on strategy every week, where we're celebrating your wins, we're celebrating the signups, we're celebrating the filled group program, where you can just focus on doing what you love. And I'll say this, look, whether or not you're going to join us inside of the Overflow upgrade or not, your business and your life are asking you to step forward. I really don't care how you step forward. You can do it with us. Amazing. I'd be super pumped to be able to take you on as a client, or you can just work towards doing your next step. You know what the next step is. So take the next few minutes just for you after this training. Don't just shut this training off. If you're watching the recording, you're like, okay, cool, I'm going to shut it off. I'm going to go onto Netflix and then numb out for a little bit. I want you to seriously stop, because there is an exercise that I'm going to leave you with, which is the CEO activation plan. Everything up until now was to get you to pull your head out of your ass. And I'm just going to straight shoot. And if you're coaching with me, this is the way that I talk to people. I will say it with love. But through this process, you've dodo bird, is that what it is? The one that sticks their head in the dirt? That's what you've done. You've done it because you're saying to yourself, I know what can keep me here. Whether you join us inside the Overflow Upgrade, your business and your life are asking you to step forward. So take the opportunity because you know you're ready to go to growmycoaching.com/overflow upgrade, book the discovery call, and we can set you up ASAP. Do that. Now, moving past this, I want you to grab a notebook. I want you to grab a notebook. I want you to close all the tabs because we're going to go into this right here. If you want to take a screenshot of this, take a screenshot of this because this is your CEO activation plan. We don't need to get fancy. We don't need to get 37 spreadsheets. This is journaling. It's about understanding where exactly you are and painting the vision of yourself because now you know where you are on that roadmap. Now let's plan where you're going to be 6 months from now. So here's what I want you to do. First of all, drop in the chat ready if you are ready to do this. I want you to, yes, ready, freaking ready. That's what I'm talking about. Ready. Perfect. Thumbs up. Yes, ready. Beautiful. So I want you to imagine it is 6 months from now. You're no longer booked out on one-on-one sessions. You're no longer burnt out. You have an abundance of time. You're leading a business that gives more to you, more in money, more in clients, more in purpose, more in passion, more than it takes. I want you to answer these questions. Each one of them, really take the time to go down and be deep about it. The first question is, what does your business look like now? In that question, envision it. What are you selling to people? How do clients work with you? What systems are running behind the scenes? What does your team look like? What does your day-to-day look like inside of your business? What is your business enabling you to do? How is your business contributing to the world and to your clients? That's what you want to put into this question. So write that question down. Your second question is, what does your life look like now? The 6-month life. What does it look like now? Again, we're going deep. How do your days feel day to day? Knowing that you have so much time in your calendar or you're golfing and you're able to do this fun stuff. What decision did you stop delaying or putting off? What are the things that you're acting on day to day in your life? What did you let go of? Or sorry, where are you that was going to be the next question. Where are you spending your new energy? What does your life look like? How is your relationship being impacted? How many hours do you have to spend with your friends? Have you taken up a new hobby? Envision that. And then the third question, what did you let go of and who did you have to become to make this real? Who did you have to become to make this real? This one's very important. What mindset did you shift? What did you let go of in order to step up? What decision did you stop delaying to finally transform into the CEO? This is going to take you about 10 minutes. Do this and review this every day. When you review this every single day, it is going to activate you to stay in the CEO energy. All of the clients that work with me inside of C2C and that work one-on-one with us know that I tell them to do things daily, and I'm always talking about repetition because what you continue to speak into the world over and over again and talk about all the time continues to manifest around you. I repeat myself a lot through these 5 days because I want to hammer it into your mind to pass into your subconscious. If you want to activate yourself like a CEO, it's not enough for you to just say, oh, okay, I have a plan and I'm going to go through. You've got to have a vision as to what your next 6 months is going to look like. And this is going to do that. The version of you that you're becoming, I want you to know that it already exists. It already exists. The future you has already accomplished what the current you is doing. All you have to do is embody the future you. This isn't pretending. We're not like fake it till you make it, bro. No. All you have to do is 100% lean in. Just like where you are now, there was a point in your time which you were working to where you are now, which is incredible. The future you already has what you're looking for. So this is about embodiment. It's not about, creating you. It's about removing everything in the way so the only thing that exists left is you. And then go and build what that person leads. Go and build what he or she leads into the world. Go freaking activate yourself. Guys, before we open into the questions, I just want to say I am so proud of every single one of you for going through the full 5-day series. I will promise you, many people won't do this. Go through the 5-day. Actually sit down to go through 5 hours to establish where they're looking to grow in their business. They won't change their scalable delivery. Some of them will always sell or produce or create the services the same way. They'll never change them, even if they become outdated and old. They'll get to a space where when it comes to their CEO systems and their back end, they're just going to say, I'm going to keep having control in it because I won't trust. But I'll tell you something, you're different. You're different because you're here, which shows me that you have an eagerness to change. You're different because not only do you have the eagerness, you also have the desire. Desire and will is how we change things internally. So sure, it's good and fine and dandy to keep learning the how and keep doing the things and keep listening to the trainings, but this is where now you get to take action. You are the CEOs, you get to activate yourself. Now that this is officially wrapped up and completed, this is where we'll go into questions. I'll stop my screen share here. Put myself center. Boom. How are we feeling from that? Drop 1 or 2 words in the chat with how we're feeling. Let me see here. Powerful. Thank you. Series was great. No, thank you for watching the series. Inspired. Perfect. Inspiration. Inspire. The ability to continue to go from peak to peak and also from valley to valley. Because guess what? Through every peak, there's always a valley that's connected to it. That's the best part. Super grateful for being here. I appreciate you being here. Powerful. Yeah. All of these things help contribute to the energy that you're building towards your business. And it's really important because I'll tell you something, moving from that energy is everything. So much of us think that it's just strategy. I come across so many people who they know all of the strategy. And maybe actually some of you already know the strategy. But this is why strategy is not enough. You can know that you need to do a group program, but how come you still haven't do it yet? You can know all the how, but unless you know the what, the when, and the why, the how's kind of useless. And I mean, think about it for your clients. Clients like, how do I stay motivated with my food? It's not how. Why are you not doing it? What's coming up for you whenever it comes to food? We know this. We know the exact same things that we tell our clients. And that's the best part about it. So, but enough of me. Questions. Come on. I know we've gone over in time, and I say this every single time, but thank you so much. I'm here for questions. So if any of you got questions, you can drop it in the chat here and we'll go.